Hey, Divine Ones, happy Sunday. Welcome to another episode of my Facebook Live show. And I am really glad to be here with you on Sundays. If you don't know, actually, Sundays are one of my favorite days. Actually, it's probably my favorite day of the week. So it's really apropos that we're doing these on Sundays. I missed you all last week, and as we get into the show and then we get into the topic of what we're going to be talking about, you're going to find out a little bit about why I was absent last week. It all makes sense. But from here on out, I plan to be here on Sundays, every Sunday, unless something comes up. But I'm really excited about today's show. I've got some things we want to talk about, really about some questions that I get a lot from a lot of you all have inboxed me these questions. A lot of my clients ask me these questions. A lot of my friends ask me these questions. And even these were questions that I've held for my life for a while. So today's show is really going to be really juicy. I think you're going to get a lot of good information out of today. So hang in tight. And as always, if you have questions that come up during the show, today's broadcast, please just type them in the comments, and I do see them, and I'm going to respond to them in a section of the show. I'll respond to you. So good morning. It's morning here where I am. If you are in the west coast of United States, it's definitely early morning. If you're in the East Coast, it's probably just now afternoon. I'm in the central part of the United States. And if you're across the world, it's probably evening where you are. So good evening. But yeah, so before we jump into today's questions, one thing I want to do is I want to show you this beautiful piece of jewelry I have on today. I wanted to wear some black so that you could really get to see it very clearly. But this piece of jewelry that I have on, good morning, all of you all. I see you all in the comment section. Good morning. So this beautiful piece of jewelry that I have on was sent to me by one of the members of this tribe, one of the beautiful members of this tribe. Her name is Tammy Conklin. And if you're watching, please put your name, post a comment with your name, because I'm going to shout you out here. Tammy makes jewelry, specifically jewelry that helps people heal. She makes healing jewelry. And she said she had been getting an intuitive guidance to make me a piece. And so she made me a piece and she sent it to me. And I got this piece last week in the mail. And I love it. Every color and every piece on here is a different kind of crystal and a different kind of healing stone. And this piece, I literally can feel the energy of it. When I picked it up, and when I literally picked it up for the first time, I can feel the energy of it. And having it on my neck here, really, there is a grounding piece, a grounding energy, and a very centering energy that I feel with this. And there's just the different stones in here, and I may have to do a post because I forgot all the different stones that she put in here and all the different energy qualities and healing qualities that they have. But I absolutely just thank you, Tammy. This is gorgeous. I will be wearing this a lot. I love it. But all of you, if you want healing jewelry, check her out. Her name is Tammy Conklin. Hopefully, if she's watching, she can put her name in live. If not, then I'll try to tag her after this video, and you'll see it in the comment section. But again, thank you, Tammy. I just wanted to say thank you. I'm wearing your piece. I got it. I absolutely love it. And all of you all, if you want healing jewelry, please check her out. So let's dive right in. So the first question that I got is why around challenges and why challenges arise in our lives. Now, if you've been following me for a while, I talk a lot about that the experiences of our lives and our reality are a reflection. The things we experience in our outer world, meaning our relationships and the events that happen, the circumstances and experiences that we have, are reflections or indicators somehow of what's happening in our eternal world, right? Meaning the beliefs that we hold and the vibration that we're carrying. And your vibration is basically how you're emotionally feeling. It's literally the energy it's the emotional, your emotional state creates a frequency. It creates an energetic frequency that creates your reality. And so that emotional frequency is mainly and mostly created by the beliefs you're holding and the thoughts you're thinking, but it also is created by like the environment you're in, the things that are influencing you or happening in your environment, and other things, right? But mostly it's about the beliefs that you're holding and how you specifically what you believe about yourself, what you think about yourself, and how you feel about yourself. So a lot of what's happening in the challenges that we arise over the reflections of that. But there's another part of why challenges arise in our lives, and I want to speak to this today because I've done a lot about speaking about why those type of challenges arise. But this particular part, I haven't spoken to in depth before, and I want to take some time to speak to this because this is really important, and it will really help you maneuver through your life better when you understand this. And so I had a question that was this earlier this week by a friend of mine who was talking with me, and they asked me like, why do these challenges arise in our lives when we're doing the work of loving ourselves, and our inner states of being are in high vibration, and we've healed our traumas and all that thing. So we don't have all of this discord in our internal state of being. Why do challenges still arrive? Like, I'm doing the work, I'm feeling good, I'm happy, I'm in my passions, I'm keeping my life force energy charged, I feel safe, I feel enough, I'm at ease, and so all of that energy should be reflecting out. But I've had these challenges that are coming up. And here's the reason why these challenges come up. And I'm going to share with you a personal experience that will reflect this. And this will also share with you a little bit about why I was MIA a bit this week. But one of the reasons why challenges arise in our lives is because our soul puts them there to help us expand and help us better be able to understand and embody the message that we individually are here to share with the world, and the teachings that we are individually here to teach to the world. That challenge helps you somehow through that challenge, and maneuvering your way through that challenge, you learn your message at a deeper level, and you learn something about the world and something about us as a whole that helps you better describe it and better help people understand who we are and how to move it. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit of experience that happened to me to help you kind of help you understand this and see this in real time. So last weekend, the shit hit the fan for me. Like, literally, like, all of a sudden, all these things came up at once. And they were, all of them were just really just like hard challenges. So, I got sick. I started to get sick. And again, I had been taking very good care of myself. I've been eating very well. My energy was very high. I was doing stuff I loved. I was relaxing more, taking it easy. And so energetically, I was in a good place. So it didn't make sense why I was sick, especially I had gotten an infection. And infections for me, usually in the past, usually have only come up when I have been in anger, and I have been very angry about something for a long time. And when I've been fighting something for a long time, like trying to resist something, trying to push it away and say, no, no, no. Whenever I've had an infection, that has been the energy that has led to that coming. Like, that's what's been going on in my life. But that wasn't really what was going on in my life at the time. And at the time, I had gotten sick. And then on top of that, my refrigerator went out. And when I had the repair people come out, they were basically like, you're going to have to get a brand new refrigerator because this repair is going to cost you just as much as a whole new refrigerator. And that was a challenge for me because, one, I loved my refrigerator. I was not in the mood to get a new refrigerator. And also, my birthday is coming up in 2 weeks. It's my 40th birthday, big birthday. And so I had allotted that money to spend on my birthday some type of way, to take a trip or something like that. And so it was in my budget to buy a new refrigerator. At least so I thought in my head at the time. And there was all these things kind of hit at one time. And again, they were coming out of energetically, they weren't making sense because energetically I was at a high flying place. My vibration had been high. I was feeling good. I was, not in a place where there was any kind of conflict in my energy field. So when my first reaction, my first initial reaction was like, "What the hell is going on? Here, where is this coming from?" And as I began to take a step back, which is what I do when things like this happen, I take a step back and I go within, so I can make sure that I'm receiving the higher guidance, and I'm not just in reaction, that I am literally allowing the divine to reveal to me what the higher purpose of what's going on is. And so as I began to kind of step back and just relax and stop fighting it, that's the first step to really kind of get the greater awareness behind what's going on, is to stop fighting. To stop fighting it, to stop going at war with it, to stop trying to push it away and say, no, this shouldn't be here, or I shouldn't be going through this. To just accept what is, right? To accept it and to make peace with it. Because once you make peace, you become more in alignment with your higher self, and you get the wisdom from your higher self. So I began to just make peace and to meditate. And as I began to do that, I heard the voice of my higher self speak around this, and it said to me that this was, it wasn't that I needed to relax. This wasn't me. I didn't do anything wrong, because that's another thing. Well, one of the questions we usually will ask when challenges come up is like, what did I do wrong? Like, what have I done wrong? And again, you're not doing anything wrong. This is something that my soul, again, spoke to me and reminded me of, was you haven't done anything wrong. You're going through this so that you can teach this at a deeper level. You can teach what comes up, what you remember and what you relearn from this at a deeper level. This is helping you with your purpose. This is helping you with your mission here. It's helping you at a higher level ground in and expand into your mission here. Just trust the process and watch and see. And so I began to do just that. I began to trust the process. And as I began to, as I came out of that meditation and I began to reverberate in my head around the message of, this is helping you ground into your purpose and better be able to share your message more. As I began to think about that a little bit, one thing that came up in my head was this post that I had posted on my page last week. And if you've been following my page last week, you probably read it. It was a post about how, and I began to laugh because I began to understand, oh, this is exactly an experience where I'm more able to practice one of my teachings at a deeper level, so that I can be able to teach it even better at another level. So one of the things that I posted on my page, which was the teaching, was that our perceptions of an experience that happens, especially if it's a challenging experience in our lives, our perception about why that challenge is in our lives determines the outcome of that challenge. And I posted this, you can see it, I posted it probably about maybe 6 days ago or so. But I posted this, I had written it a few days before I posted, I just happened to post it on this day. But it was a post that talked about how the perception that you have about the challenge or the experience that you're having, whatever it is, whether it's a breakup in a relationship, whether it's a financial challenge, whether it's a health challenge in your body, whether it's something not working out for you the way you thought it was supposed to work out, whatever that is that's going on in your life, the perception that you have about that challenge, like what the story you're telling yourself about why that's here, right, determines the outcome. And you have two choices. And this is kind of how our reality works. This isn't just philosophy or anything. This is how reality works. The story that you tell yourself about the experience that you're having determines how that experience is going to serve you. And so if you tell yourself that this experience is here, even if it's something that you don't prefer, right? And this is all something that I wrote in this post, by the way. Again, if you go check out this post on my page, you will see this, and you will see the divine synchronicity that is in play when you hear again about why my experience that came up and then me writing this thing. even if that challenge is something you don't prefer, right? So, for example, the illness and my refrigerator going out was not something I would have preferred. That's not something I would have chosen for myself. That's not something I asked for, but it was something that had appeared in my life. It was a challenge that I was having. Your perception, though, the story that you're telling yourself about why this challenge is here determines how this is going to work out for you. Like if it's going to serve you, if it's going to have a positive effect on your life, or if it's going to have a negative effect, right? And if you tell yourself that this, if you're the perception that you have is this is a bad thing, this shouldn't be happening, this has diminished me in some way, then this is going to end up having a negative experience. The result of it is going to have a negative experience for you. But if you tell yourself somehow that somehow this is good, this is good that this happened, and this is going to serve me, this is going to work out somehow in my favor. I may not know how, and this is one of my favorite affirmations, by the way. I may not see how right now, but this experience is going to work out for me. This experience is going to work out in my favor, and it will all make sense for me in the end. That's one of my favorite affirmations. I may not see how right now, but this experience is going to work out in my favor, and it will all make sense for me in the end. And if you begin to view this experience as somehow here to serve you, and somehow here to expand you somehow, and somehow here to bring you better, to bring you a better relationship or a better experience of life or better understanding or a better ability to experience joy or better health or whatever, if you begin to hold that perception, it must serve you in the end. There are two things that happen. One, you give it permission to release from your life. The moment that you stop fighting it and you stop thinking that it's wrong and it's bad for being here, you give it permission to do the thing that it came to do, which was to bless you in some way, and you give it permission to release from you. Because again, the challenge is there to help expand you. It's there to help you. I won't necessarily say teach you something, but it will teach you something. But it's there to help you become more aware and help you see a higher viewpoint and help you embody more of the truth of your being. And if you do that, it gives you the permission. You literally give it the energetic permission to release itself from your life. And so I wrote about all of this in this post. And so after I came out of my meditation asking about my own personal challenge, I remembered that and I started laughing. I said, here's an opportunity. This illness and this refrigerator going out is an opportunity for me to practice this at a deeper level so that I can teach this more. And so that I'm not just, it won't just be a post that I post, that maybe I'll do a course on this. Maybe this will be something that I'll talk about in workshops more. But this is an opportunity for me to embody more of my message, right? And to teach it. And so I'm going to, from this experience somehow, this is going to give me something that is going to expand me and it's going to help me serve the people that I'm here to serve. And so I began to view this again as this is good. Like, this is good for me. It's good that my refrigerator went out. I may not understand it right now, but it's good for me. And this illness somehow is good for me. It's helping me do something. And the moment I shifted my awareness to saying this is a blessing, is the moment I began to see exactly why they were. So the refrigerator was a blessing for me because of several things. One, this month of February, so my birthday is in March, it's on March 5th. And I've been taking all of February and I had already intended that February was going to be a month of release for me and opening up. And I was going to be releasing whatever my new decade of life, whatever my 40s was going to ask me to release from my 30s, that was going to help me live a higher experience of my life in this new decade. Because I feel, and I have, not only I've set an intention, but I feel intuitively in my soul that my 40s are going to be my greatest decade that I've ever lived. I just feel that. And I wanted to be as open to the good that my 40s were wanting to bring me, especially the year 40. 40 is a very milestone year. And I was wanted to be very, 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 very open to what 40 was going to bring me, and I wanted to open up to so I could be a receptacle for all the good that 40 has for me. And it's particularly, I have a feeling that 40 is going to bring me some type of miracle. I don't know what that miracle is, and we can watch together as I journey through my year of 40. But really feel like 40 is going to bring me a miracle. I feel that. I feel like something in the year 40 is miraculous is going to happen for me. So I wanted to take February to really clear up my energy and be an open channel for that. So whatever I need to release them about my 30s that was going to open me for my 40s, I wanted to do that. And I also felt like I was going to be becoming a new being. I celebrate all of my birthdays. My birthdays have always been very important to me. I always feel like I'm becoming a new version, a higher version of my soul on every birthday, but especially this one. And so I was really, 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 really looking forward to this and feeling like I was stepping into a new version of myself. So the awareness that I got after I shifted that perception was my old refrigerator going out, which I hadn't really realized. I had a nice refrigerator, with stainless steel and all that, but I hadn't really realized that I had that I literally had that refrigerator. And it wasn't until the repair people came out, because they were the repair people from the company that I bought the refrigerator from. And they came out, and I thought I had the refrigerator for like 4 years. And when the repair people came out, and watch how this all kind of comes together. When the repair people came out, they told me, no, like, your refrigerator is 10 years old. Like, it's coming up on its 10th year. And so they said it's about really time that it kind of went out the way it went out. You've had it for 10 years. You haven't had any problems with it. And it was just kind of time to kind of upgrade and go to a higher level of refrigerator. And as I began to think about I had this refrigerator for 10 years. So meaning I got this refrigerator when I turned 30. And this refrigerator had been with me for my whole 30s, the whole decade of my 30s. And so it represented energetically, right? It represented metaphysically and energetically the journey of my 30s. And now that was over. I was ready for a new. So now again, 10 years, right? So I got it right when I had turned 30. And I guess it's my 30th birthday present. I have forgotten all about this. And I got it at 30. And now that I was getting ready to turn 40, it was literally my soul. It was like my soul's way of saying, thank you for your 30s, but now you're ready for your 40s, right? And when I went out, when I had that awareness, I said, oh my God, this is literally a physical manifestation of the wisdom, the internal knowing and wisdom that I had been feeling, that I was releasing something and stepping up and opening up to something new. So I started to think again, this was actually good that this happened. This is actually a physical manifestation of what I've been feeling. Like, I'm open. This is part of this. This is part of me opening my energy up to a new experience and a higher experience. So I said, okay, then my intention for my 40s is to get something even better. Is to experience the even higher and better way of life. So when I at first start thinking, I got to go refrigerator shopping, and it was something that I didn't want to do at first. And then I started to think about it, and I started to get excited about it, because it was like, I'm not just getting a refrigerator, but this is a symbol of like me bringing in the better, me bringing in the higher and the better and the new for my new decade of life. And so when I went out and I found this refrigerator, it was exactly like more than like higher and did more than my old refrigerator did. My old refrigerator didn't have like an ice dispenser and a water dispenser. I got one that did. I got one that it was the same model. Same company that made it, but it was like the top of the line, not the top of the line model, because that was like $8,000 and I wasn't paying $8,000 for a fridge. But I got a higher model than I had before. And when they delivered it into my home, I energetically just felt, I started to cry because I understood again, wow, this wasn't me being punished at all. This was a blessing. This was a representation of what's getting ready to happen in my life. And how perfectly and how in alignment this thing had happened. Again, this refrigerator I got on my 30th birthday. Like how perfect all of this had been orchestrated by my soul. I got this refrigerator when I was 30 years old. I am turning 40 in about a week and a half, right? And this refrigerator, and I wanted to use this month of February to release my 30s in a very loving way so that I could open up to my 40s. And this was my soul helping me do that. This is one of the ways it helped me do that was I released this refrigerator that I had had through all of my 30s, that had worked for me for my 30s and represented who I was in my 30s, and opened myself up to something new, right? A newer experience that brought in that was a higher model and worked better than before and was even better than what I had before. And so that was amazing. And the other portion of that too is when they delivered the refrigerator, my illness also went away. And the illness was also the message behind the illness. When I looked at the illness, looking at it as a blessing, one thing that happened was I rested more, and I began to trust in my body more, and that my body wasn't. I've spoken about this a lot, but your body's not betraying you, and it's not against you. It's trying to help you. And me resting more and me kind of pulling back and taking time allowed me to do more introspection time and allowed me to understand this part of my journey. Like I literally have been asking for a higher experience and to release what I need to release to make room for the higher experience of my 40s. And here was all of this happening. My soul was literally doing all of this. The universe was literally doing all of this. But again, a lot of times we think we know how things should happen, and we think we know what it needs to look like, right? And we think we know, but you don't. And that's the universe has such a miraculous way of bringing through your intentions in ways that are way beyond the scope of your understanding. And you just have to trust it. You just have to trust and stop fighting and trust the flow and trust and just change your perception. Just change your perception around what's happening. Right. And again, this was me having a deeper dive into my own teachings. Right. So when I changed my perception that this experience was here to serve me and it was not here to diminish me. It wasn't something negative that was happening to me. It wasn't something bad. It was something good. And even though it came in a way that I may not have preferred it to come in, right? Even though the experience of it may not necessarily feel like I had preferred it to feel right now, or have come in the way that I preferred it to come, that it's serving me, and there's a blessing not just in this, but because of this. Like this came to bless me, and it literally did. It literally did. The entire perspective of it. And I'll do another video to share with you later around what I learned around the illness, because there was a whole thing about that. It's a whole nother 30 minutes to talk about, about how that blessed me and how I understood that was there. And that was, again, so I wanted to share the first part of this video about that our challenges come up, not just to, our challenges come up not because we're doing something wrong or our vibrations are out of order, but a lot of times our challenges arise in our lives to help us deepen an understanding of something and help us better be able to embody our message and our purpose here on the planet. And so trust and just hold the perception that this is here to serve me. And I may not see how right now, but this is going to work out in my favor. And in the end, it will all make sense to me. And it definitely does to me right now. And hopefully you all out there who are having challenges, this will speak to you as well. If you all have any questions, and again, if you're just tuning in, if you have any questions, please be sure to type them into the comment section below. Hey, you all, I see some family in here as well. Hey, But if you have a question, I'm going to be answering questions here in a minute. So if you have a question that's coming up around anything that I'm sharing today or anything you want to talk about, let me know and I'll address those questions in a second. So the second part of what I wanted to talk to you today about is something that I see a lot. So, I work a lot with helping people heal themselves, not just from things that are going on in their lives, but things that are going on in their bodies as well, illnesses and disease and things like that. As an intuitive healer, medium, and an energy worker, I do a lot of that. And so I want to speak to you about something that I see when we're trying to heal ourselves from something in our bodies, and the main reason I see why we don't, like why, and when we're trying really hard, though, we're trying really, really, really hard to heal. We're doing everything we think we should be doing, and it's not working. I want to talk to you about why that is, and hopefully this will help you really begin to shift your healing journey into the healing that you really want, because this is really the thing I see that holds people up the most from receiving the healing, not just that they desire, but they really truly deserve. Whatever you're trying to heal from, you already deserve to heal from it. You're already worthy of being healthy. Health and healing is not something you deserve, that you need to deserve, meaning you have to really work for. Being healthy is something you're already worthy of. Being well is something you already are worthy of. That is your birthright as a soul. You just have to kind of get out of the way what's in the way of allowing that to happen for you. So let me share with you the main reason why, when we're trying to heal, we don't. And it has nothing to do with because we're not eating the right thing, or because we haven't asked correctly, or because we're not, deserving, because I already told you already are worthy and deserving of it already. The main reason why we don't heal is because we oftentimes take the same energy that caused, or that is at the root of what we're trying to heal from, into our healing process. So I'll say it again. We often take the same energy into our healing journey and into our healing process that caused, or that is the root of the very thing we're trying to heal from. So if you've been following for a while, you know that any illness in the body, the root cause of it, no, I don't care what it is. I don't care how long you've had it. I don't care where it occurs in the body. I don't care what doctors have said about it. I don't care any of that. The main cause of it is an energetic imbalance. And the energetic imbalance is basically that you've been withholding somehow, and not purposefully, like you're not intentionally withholding, right? But just like you've been withholding. You've been withholding yourself from the energy of love, from the energy of your soul, right? Which is the energy of love. You've been withholding yourself from the energy of love somehow and somewhere in your life for too long. And that has caused a depletion in your body, and the illness is a reflection and an indicator of that. If you want to look at my last video that I did on, I think I did the last video on fear. I talk a lot about why the body was created to house the energy of love. I talk a lot about that. The body was created to house the vibration of love, which is what we are. Each of us is. And anytime it gets depleted from that energy for too long, it will become sick. And it's just, the sickness is not a punishment. It is not a betrayal of the body. It's an indicator. Just like the gas gauge in the car is an indicator that you are low on gas, that your car is low on the fuel it needs to run. An illness is an indicator that your body is low on the energy that it needs to run well. That it needs to work well. And the energy that it needs to run well is the energy of love, the vibration of love. Now, if you're new to me, so love is not, love is a multifaceted vibration, meaning it's many aspects to it. It's not just affection. And that's what a lot of us have been taught to believe. Love is like just appreciation and acceptance. And while those are aspects of love, and they are foundational aspects of love, love is also the feeling of freedom. It is also the feeling of ease. It is also the feeling and vibration of joy. It is also the feeling of empowerment. So if you have not been feeling those things, right? There's other aspects in feelings of love. Basically, love is the vibration that encompasses all the good feelings, right? The feelings the emotional feelings when we feel good, when we feel them. It's it's kind of the aspect of all of that. So if you've been withholding, and what I mean by withholding is if basically you haven't been feeling that vibrationally for a long time. So if you've not been feeling at ease for a long time, you're going to feel for a prolonged period of time, not just for a few hours or 2 days, but you've been habitually, right? It's usually for months or years, a lot of times, especially if you have a chronic illness or disease. You've been withholding yourself from some aspect of love for a long time, for years. And so you may not have been at ease for a long time, right? You may have been living a life that's stressing you out. Maybe you're being stressed out in your work, or your relationships are stressing you out, or your financial situation is stressing you out, right? And you've just been holding stress in your body for a long time, and stress is withholding you from the energy of ease, which is an aspect of love. So your body will be sick because of that. For me, I talk a lot about my journey here. So for me, the diseases that manifested for me were AIDS and kidney failure. AIDS was the indicator that I had been withholding myself from appreciation and acceptance. I had been feeling shame for a long time about myself, mostly around my sexuality and also my body. And so shame was the way I was withholding myself from the parts of love that I needed, which was appreciation and acceptance, right? Feeling enough, right? The other parts was kidney failure was, for me, the root cause, the energy that caused that was fear, particularly the fear of being myself in the world, all of myself. Not just my sexuality, but also my spirituality. I hid my spiritual gifts for a long time. I didn't share what I knew for a very long time, for fear of being rejected by my friends and society and my family. So I suppressed a lot. So I didn't also feel free, right? So I didn't feel, there was fear. And then I also felt in bondage and imprisoned by that. I didn't feel like free to be myself. And there was also a feeling of failure that happened for me at that time, around the time I was feeling like I wasn't successful enough and I had failed and all of that stuff. So that energy was keeping me from love. And so the only reason why illness shows up in our body is because we have been withholding ourselves from some aspect of the energy of love for a long time, right? And it's the body's way of saying, hey, you need to stop withholding, and you got to fuel me up. You got to fuel me up with what I need to run well. You got to fuel me up with the energy of love. And so I've done a video on this before. You can go back again on my YouTube channel and watch this in more detail, where I talk about what the healing process is really just the process of experiencing the opposite energy. What I mean by that is it's the opposite energy of what caused the dysfunction or the illness, right? So I just told you about what the root causes were for AIDS and kidney failure for me. They were shame. So the energy of shame, the energy of fear, and the energy of bondage, right? Shame, failure, fear, and bondage were kind of the energies that led to that. So in order for me to heal myself, I have to experience the opposite energy, which was the opposite energy of shame is appreciation and acceptance, right? So that was the energy that I needed to embody. That was the energy of love that I needed to charge and fuel my body in more so that it can start to be well. In order for the kidney stuff to heal, I needed to charge my energy instead of suppression. I needed to, and fear, and to trust, right? And instead of bondage, the feeling of freedom. Instead of failure, the feeling of success, right? And so those were the things I needed to the energies that I needed to charge myself in. Now, why a lot of us don't heal is not just because we make one of the things we don't heal. Why we don't heal is because we don't make the journey about the energy. We make it about all this external stuff, and it's understandable why we do that, because that's how the world teaches us. The world teaches us that you change everything by outside stuff, by working on the outside, right? But the real truth of the thing, which is the sole eternal truth, is everything changes by what you do on the inside. Your internal world determines your external world. I've said this 1,000 times. I will never stop saying it because it is truth till the end of time. Your internal reality determines your external reality, meaning the vibration you're holding and the belief systems that you have they literally shape and determine what reality you're going to live. This world is literally just a projection of what's inside of here. It's like the projection screen, right? And so it's like if you went to a movie theater and you're watching a movie and you didn't like what was on the movie screen. In order to change it, you wouldn't go up on the screen and try to fight the screen or try to move the characters around on the screen. You wouldn't do that because you couldn't. That's not how you change it. No matter how much you tried, no matter what color screen, you could put a blue screen up there instead of a white one. You could put, different lights up there. You could put all kinds of stuff up, try to do things up on the screen. That movie and that plot is still going to play out because that's not what's projecting it up there. And if you wanted to change the movie, you have to go back to the projector and change the reel and put a whole different movie in there, right? This is where the real is. Out here is just the projected image. That's where the movie plays out. The real is always right here. The real is in your vibration and in your belief system. And so a lot of times why we don't change, why we don't heal is because we're out here trying to change this. So we're out here just trying to do it with diet. We're out here just trying to do all these different healing modalities. And we haven't changed the reason why why the movie's showing up is the energy and belief system we're holding. So again, if I felt ashamed of myself, and I felt in bondage, and I felt imprisoned, and I felt afraid, and I did not deal with that energy, I didn't heal the fear, I didn't change the feeling of bondage to freedom, and I didn't feel shame, I could never have healed. I would never have healed. I could have done a lot out here, and it may have changed things for a split second, but it would never have healed it. It would have just appeared in a different way, and probably a bigger way, right? So that's one of the reasons. It's because we try to change things on the outside, and we don't do the internal energy work of changing our energy, of really changing the vibration we're holding. But the second thing, which is the biggest thing, is that a lot of times we'll take into our healing journey the very energy that caused the illness. And so, for example, I have clients all the time who come, and when I look at the energy, and as part of my intuitive gifts, I'm literally able to tune into a person and see the energy that caused the illness. Like, what's the root energetic cause of this illness? I'm able to see that. That's one of my gifts. I'm able to read and see energy and see the energy that is the cause of whatever experience or challenge or dysfunction or illness we're having in our lives. That's kind of my gifting. I can see that. And so when we get into there and I see the energy, right? And so I'll say, let's say, for instance, I had a client, one of the reasons why her illness was showing up was because she was not at ease. She had been stressed for a long time, for many years in her life. Stress, she carried so much stress, and she had never just been at peace. And the illnesses that were showing up were literally manifestations of stress and not being at peace. And so what her soul was asking her to heal, and her body was asking her to do to heal herself, was to begin to live a life of peace and to hold peace in her vibration. Well, when I started to talk to her about like what has she been doing to try and heal herself, and she started talking about these different diets that she was trying. And she was listing out all of this stuff. Well, I don't eat this, and I don't eat this, and I said this, and I talked to this person, and they said not to eat this, but I had been eating this, so I stopped eating this. And as she was talking to me about all of this, you could feel the stress just emanate off of her, off of the very healing practice that she was trying. And when I asked her, I said, how does this all feel for you? Like when you sit down to eat and you sit down and do all of this stuff, to take all this stuff you feel like you need to do, how do you feel? And she said, I feel really stressed, and it feels so stressful. And I said, yeah, and that's why you're not healed yet, because you're bringing the same energy that caused the illness in the first place into your healing journey. Right? And we so often do this. I did this for years. We often do this, right? When we're trying to heal ourselves. A lot of the paths that we take to heal ourselves are in the very same energy of what caused the illness in the first place, right? They either stress us out, or they make us feel like we're not enough, or they make us feel disempowered. This happens a lot with people who take different, especially if you're working with doctors. And I'm not anti-doctor by any means. I worked with doctors. I still work with doctors. I'm not saying this at all, but this happens a lot in our traditional medical field, is where a lot of the times the things that are suggested to you to help you, like that they want to help treat you or something like that, make you feel disempowered. And it goes against something your gut is saying for you to do, right? So it may be they want you to do a surgery and your gut is saying not to have the surgery. Or they may want you to take this method and your intuition is saying to take this method over here, but they're really telling you don't know anything and to do this method over here. And so you feel disempowered. And the very energy behind why you may have that illness show up for you is that because you've not been feeling empowered for a long time in your life. You've been withholding the aspect of love, which is feeling empowered, from yourself. You've been living a life that's been making you feel empowered, and here you are trying to heal, feeling more disempowered, and this is why you're not healing. And so one of the things that is very, 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 very important to know when you're trying to heal yourself is your healing process and your healing journey must feel like the energy of being well. And that's going to be the opposite energy of how the illness feels. So if you feel stressed, if the illness feels stressed, it feels fearful, you're afraid, then your healing process is going to feel trusting and safe, and it's going to feel like ease. So everything you do along your healing journey must make you feel more at ease. It must make you feel more safe, and it must make you feel more trusting. That's the energy that's going to charge love through you, and that's the energy that's going to help you heal. And so that's your checklist. Like when you're looking at something to do, right? Whatever modalities you're looking at, to try and help you heal, whether you're looking at energy healing or some type of surgery or medication, or you're looking at aromatherapy or acupuncture or whatever it is, or some type of herbal diet or cleanse or detox or whatever. When you think about that, literally take some time. Before you say yes to it, take some time, go sit in meditation and think about it, and think about yourself being involved in that particular healing modality, in that practice, and feel it in your body. How does it feel to do this diet, right? Do I feel more free? And this was something I used to do a lot. I used to do all these different diets in the beginning. And remember I said freedom was a large piece of the energy that I was needed to embody to heal. A lot of the diets that I took in the beginning made me feel like I was depriving myself and that I was in bondage again. And I was always wondering why I wasn't getting big results out of certain diets that I was taking, right? Because I would see some changes in my body, but I wouldn't see tremendous big changes. And I wouldn't see big changes, even though people were saying this diet absolutely works. And the experts or people that I was following, or the teachers or or nutritionists or the herbalist or the doc or whoever it was that I was following, was saying, this is the one. This is what you should do. This is it. This will make you heal. And it wasn't helping me. But I was because it was, a lot of them were very restrictive. Like they restricted me from eating things I really loved to eat. They restricted me from things. And it just made me feel like I was in bondage. And the way I was eating was not a feeling of freedom. It was a feeling of suppression. And it was a feeling of deprivation, which was the very energy that caused the kidney stuff in the first place. Right. And so that was the very energy that was withholding the energy of love from me. Remember, again, illness is just a physical manifestation of where you've been withholding the energy of love from you. And every illness will tell you exactly where it is that you've been withholding if you'll pay attention to how it makes you feel. Right. So, again, kidney failure, was about it made me feel in bondage and not free. And when I looked back, I had been feeling not free for a long time. I had been feeling suppressed for a long time. And here I was bringing the energy of suppression and bondage into my healing journey and expecting it to help me heal, which is why it didn't. Right. It wasn't until I began to look at what was ways to eat, what was what were ways to eat that made me feel like I was like helping my body heal, but also made me feel free. Right. What was a healing process that made me feel like I was helping my body heal, but also made me feel appreciative and accepting of my body and of myself. Right. And so for you, if you're experiencing illness, what is it for you that's going to make you feel the energy that you need to feel, the healing energy, which is the opposite energy of the energy that caused the illness? What is that energy, right? And what are the things you can do that will help you feel more like that feel in alignment with like that? So it may be you need to feel more empowered, right? And so what are the things you can do, the ways you can eat, the healing modalities that you can do, the medical things, the medical treatments you can take that make you feel more empowered instead of disempowered, right? And anything that makes you feel disempowered, right, is going to be toxic for you. Especially if the thing that has caused the illness has been a feeling of disempowerment, anything that makes you feel disempowerment is going to take you further into the illness and away from your healing. Anything that makes you feel more empowered is going to take you more towards your healing. The healing journey is all about energy, and it is all about embodying more of the energy of love, the aspect of love that you've been withholding yourself from. And if you want to know what the aspect of love that you've been withholding yourself from, you look at how the illness or disease is making you feel, right? So it makes me feel worthless. Well, where have you been feeling worthless before in your life? It makes me feel sad. Well, where have you been feeling sad, right? It may make you feel angry or resentful. Well, look at how long you've been feeling resentful before this showed up. And where have you been feeling resentful in your life before? It may make you feel afraid, right? It may make you feel like something's wrong with you. Well, where have you been feeling like that before, right? So that's the energy that has led to the cause of this, right? The other parts of that is, so if I've been feeling afraid, then the healing portion of this is to feel safe and to feel at ease, right? So what can I do to help me heal that will make me feel safer and will make me feel more at ease? If I've been feeling like I'm not enough and I'm worthless, then the energy that's going to help me heal is feeling worthy and feeling more enough. So what can I do in my process that's going to help me feel more worthy and more enough? Right. And so for that may be I need to work out, because maybe when I work out, I feel more sexy and I feel more lovable and more attractive. Right. So that's going to be something that's going to help me heal. Right. And it doesn't have to be what makes sense. Let me say this again because we're coming to the end of this. It doesn't have to be what makes sense to anybody else. It doesn't have to be what anybody else agrees with. This is why I say also, there's not one way to heal that is a blanket way that applies to everybody. There are principles behind healing that apply to everybody, like experiencing the opposite energy, like loving yourself more. Those are principles to healing, but the practice and the behaviors that you take are going to be unique to you, because only you know what is going to help you embody that energy more than anything else. right? So the healing process doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's practice and process, but it just has to help you embody that energy more. It helps to help you become more of the energy of love. That's literally what you're doing. You're becoming more of the energy of love, right? So if you've been unhappy, because that was also what part of my thing was, I was unhappy. And so I had to become happier, right? And so what makes me happy is going to be very different from what makes you happy, right? What makes you happy is going to be very different from what makes your partner happy, or what makes your mother happy, or what makes your boss happy. We're different. And so the ways I'm going to happiness into my body is going to be different from how you have to go about yours. So don't compare your healing journey to anybody else. Just take the principles and apply the principles to you in your unique way, so that you can heal the way you need to heal. But that's why many people don't heal. It's because they don't do, they bring the same energy into their healing process. That is the very cause of the illness in the first place. So understand what energy you're needing to embody. Understand what energy this illness or this, it may be asking you to release the energy of fear. But whatever energy is asking you to embody, look at what are the things that you can do to help you embody more of this energy in your life. And that's your healing practice. So you guys, I love you. I didn't see any questions. I see, so Cheryl says, so in other words, the treatments have to match the desired energy we want to feel. Absolutely. Hey, you guys, sorry the internet's acting up right now, but everything heals energetically. So I guess I'll take this as my cue to end here. We're getting close to the hour. I didn't see any questions, basically some comments. I see all of you all. John Paul says, I'm happy of your awareness and self-expression. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, John Paul, for being here in this to help you all unfold and learn. So my internet connection is saying this is enough. So I'm going to go, you all. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I love you. Now go love yourself. Much love.